Welcome! I'm Tracy Wallach. In this lecture, I will be discussing eco-leadership. Eco-leadership is a term coined by Dr. Simon Western to name a new paradigm of organizational leadership that emerged at the turn of the 21st century. Dr. Western is Chief Executive of the Eco-Leadership Institute and the Analytic Coaching Network, an adjunct professor at University College Dublin, past president of the International Society for the Psychoanalytic Study of Organizations, and the author of books and blogs. Previously, he worked as a factory worker, a general and psychiatric nurse, a family therapist, clinical NHS manager, and organizational consultant. Eco-leadership is much more than a leader focused on environmental concerns. It's a way of thinking and practicing new leadership for new times to address the disruptive social, technological, and environmental changes taking place in the world today. Whether a business, healthcare, or education provider or high-tech company, all require leadership responses to navigate the disruptive ecosystems they experience. Eco-leadership is a response to this urgent demand. Dr. Western's research, first published in 2008 in his book Leadership: A Critical Text, found that 4 dominant discourses of leadership emerged in the West over the past century, driven by social, technological, and environmental changes taking place in the West. Dr. Western identified these 4 approaches as controller, therapist, Messiah, and eco-leadership. The first 3 are described in more depth in a separate lecture. Eco-leadership emerged as a new leadership discourse at the turn of the 21st century to address the technological, social, and environmental disruptions that were transforming work, society, and the planet. Eco-leadership drew on a systemic, networked, and holistic response, realizing that, as Dr. Western writes, organizations are ecosystems within ecosystems. All 4 discourses remain with us and can be found in all organizations. All have positive and negative aspects. Which discourse dominates and how they work together in each specific organization and each context is what matters. Having researched and identified these 4 discourses, Dr. Western went on to develop a specific theory and practice of eco-leadership. His desire was to develop a pragmatic and ethical approach to leadership and organizational culture that departed from 20th century leadership approaches that are no longer fit for purpose. We face triple ecosystem disruptions: the digital and technological revolution, the environmental emergency, and rising social inequity. Often these challenges are dealt with separately, yet they are interdependent and interconnected. Society, technology, and the environment together create the hybrid ecosystems in which we live and work. Business leaders, social leaders, politicians, social movement campaigners, scientists, finance leaders, health leaders all recognize that these disruptions demand urgent change. We live in a networked, connected, and interdependent world, and our leadership and organizations need to reflect this. Eco-leadership is being developed to provide a more dynamic, ethical, and networked approach that directly addresses social injustice, the environmental crisis, and the digital and technological disruptions the world faces. COVID is only the latest challenge that demands networked and interconnected approaches. Eco-leadership nurtures successful, humane, and adaptive organizations, greater social well-being, and environmental sustainability. Eco-leadership is now taught in business schools internationally and is emergently practiced in diverse organizations across sectors. Eco-leadership has 4 qualities that together provide a guide that holds the theory together: connectivity and interdependence, systemic ethics, leadership spirit, and organizational belonging. Eco-leadership is founded on connectivity, recognizing how the network society has transformed social relations and how interdependence with each other, technology, and with the environment impacts on our lives and work. Eco-leaders pay attention to distributing leadership internally and making their organizations more autonomous, creative, participatory, and self-managing. Eco-leaders look beyond their organizations and sector concerns. They adapt and look for opportunities in the external disruptions, realizing their connectivity and interdependence with wider ecosystems, and in this way stay ahead of the game. Eco-leadership is concerned with acting ethically in the human realm and protecting the natural environment. Systemic ethics goes beyond company values and individual leader morality, which conveniently turns a blind eye to wider ethical implications of their businesses. For example, by ignoring social inequality, the downstream impacts of pollution and supply chain workers, world poverty, and environmental sustainability. Eco-leadership acknowledges the importance of the human spirit. It extends its values beyond material gain, paying attention to community and friendship, the unconscious and non-rational, creativity and imagination. It draws upon the beauty and dynamic vitality within human relationships and between humanity and the natural world. The human spirit is evoked in a myriad of diverse ways. Other systems and complexity approaches often neglect to highlight the importance of the human spirit. To belong is to be part of the whole. It is to participate in the joys and challenges faced by communities. Businesses and corporations, like schools, banks, hospitals, belong to the social fabric of community and cannot operate as separate bodies as they have been doing. Eco-leaders commit organizations to belong to places and spaces, developing strong kinship ties. Place refers to local habitat and community, and space to the virtual and real networks that organizations also inhabit. Organizational belonging means ending a false separation, realizing that company interests and societal interests are interdependent. Organizational belonging is to rethink organizational purpose and meaning. Eco-leadership has three principles of practice: social purpose, participative organizations, and eco-mindsets. Eco-leadership is applied in many diverse organizational settings in different sectors and regions. In each context, these three principles of practice are applied and shaped by local experience to fit the specific needs of an organization. Social purpose is about creating shared value. This means that eco-leadership aims to create shared value for wider society beyond shareholder profit and organizational growth. In addition to benefiting society, it also benefits the organizations, engaging and motivating employees, partners, clients, and customers, and driving innovation, retention, and recruitment. Eco-leadership is about distributing leadership, maximizing individual and team potential. Everybody takes up leadership and followership roles, which become fluid, not fixed. Unleashing leadership empowers employees to take responsibility, have the autonomy to act, and creates convivial, generous, courageous, adaptive, learning, and dynamic cultures. This mobilizes and energizes the whole organization. To participate is to belong. Changing mindsets is a big challenge. Internally, this means letting go of top-down direction and control. Leadership focuses on how to nurture and influence healthy ecosystems, how to co-create sharing and collaborative cultures, connecting across boundaries. Externally, the focus is to observe the rapid changes in technology, environmental, and social ecosystems, seeing new opportunities and adapting to disruptions. These three principles of practice aim to create a social movement energy in organizations. Each organization has specific needs and a unique culture that demands a tailored and customized eco-leadership approach. Dr. Western and his team have collaborated with diverse international organizations to deliver eco-leadership culture and have trained over 400 eco-coaches across the globe. 3 case studies highlight key issues. In this first case study, a hospice organization provided excellent care but had very limited bed capacity. The CEO's aim was to increase hospice provision to a much greater number of people, but with the same resources. The eco-leadership approach was to reimagine the challenge from how can we increase bed capacity to how can we return the art of dying well to the community. This meant deprofessionalizing care where possible. 100 hospice neighbors were trained to support those dying in their own homes, offering shopping, home help, and companionship. It also meant supporting families practically and emotionally to help them care for their dying loved ones in their own homes and creating community drop-in centers in towns to increase access to community hospice care. In the case of a global tech company, the company had huge past success based on technical advantage and business acumen, delivered mainly through the founders' charisma and talent and top-down management. Their challenge was to move from Messiah and controller leadership approach to an eco-leadership approach in order to create second-generation success. Unless they could distribute leadership, innovate more, and harness the potential of their employees, they would fall further behind. This meant being less siloed and also increasing collaboration within and outside the organization. To meet this challenge, Dr. Western and his team worked over a 3-year period to develop eco-leadership cultures and eco-mindsets. First, they shared concepts and created new understandings and a shared language of different leadership possibilities and what eco-leadership meant. Secondly, they benchmarked where they were, Messiah controller culture, and where they aspired to be, eco-leadership culture. Then they collaborated with people across the company to co-design pluralistic eco-leadership formation interventions to fit local contexts and needs. The purpose was to create spaces for eco-leaders and distributed leadership to emerge everywhere. In a healthcare setting, the organization had a top-down culture and a demoralized workforce. Their approach from the 20th century needed disrupting. The challenge was to change from treating patients like damaged objects that needed repairing in a factory hospital complex to creating health and social well-being ecosystems. Dr. Western and his team spent 3 years working with a regional provider. Firstly, they changed the conversation from doing what we do now better and more efficiently to creating system change. Secondly, they won a national funding award with their eco-leadership ideas to support the changes towards developing health and social well-being hubs and networks of care. Third, they collaborated with social care, the voluntary sector, and community health providers to create multidisciplinary, multi-agency-led hubs. The task still to complete is to transform the relationship and mindsets between providers and patients, return power, ownership, autonomy, and responsibility for well-being to patients, citizens, and their families, therefore blurring the top-down medical and managerial hierarchies that dominate healthcare. Dr. Western founded the Eco-Leadership Institute in 2021 to support organizations in this work. The Eco-Leadership Institute is both a think tank and a developmental hub with trained eco-coaches and consultants across the globe. Eco-leadership practitioners work collaboratively with each individual, team, and organization to deliver system change. They recognized that small changes lead to bigger changes, and network change can go viral. Social movements often led changes from the edges of society, and eco-leadership often begins at the edges of organizations. Eco-leadership has been applied to the health sector, nonprofits, global tech companies, banks, manufacturing, education, retail, and startups. Eco-leadership is about unleashing leadership everywhere, taking an ethical stance. The purpose? Developing eco-leadership practice to create the good society. To read more about eco-leadership, please see the following references. To learn more about my leadership and consulting practice, please visit me at www.tracywallach.com.